never say never. That's what Rio Falcon decided to do. And that's also how I feel with Otis Daniels joining me on the Sport Rap Saturday studio. Never say never. We've got the big man right here. How's it going, Otis?
It's good, man.
Solid?
Thanks for having me
Good to have
on
you.
this very extreme sporting weekend, man.
Strong weekend, my brother.
Amazing stuff happening.
Let's talk NRU first.
Yes,
The game we
yes.
just covered, FNB Rio Falcon versus FNB Rio both. I feel like at some point we saw the 26 score line and it was on one side, Rio both leading. We blinked and literally Rio Falcon doing it again 2 weekends in a row, managing to fish the W. Full-time score, Rio Falcon 31, Rio both 26.
Well deserved. They're coming from a extreme emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
You know, and I must say that, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible. I mean, I think, like you said, you know, emotional roller coaster, we don't need to rehash what it's about again,
Yes,
but we
yes.
do know that they've got a special dose of inspiration this season, and I think it's starting to show. It's starting to show because being down in Rio both, it's a derby. These guys said, not on our watch, you know, and they managed to I don't know, to get that job done as expediently as they could have.
Yes, and I think they needed to do it for themselves and for the community.
Oh, definitely.
You know, as well as for the supporters in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done. Well done.
With the score.
Yes, 31, 26.
Let's talk about the other scores, Otis.
I think UNEM maintained their unbeaten run.
Oof.
They extended it to 6 games with a 35-22 victory over Kudus.
Consistency. So UNAM
yes.
remains at the top of the log.
They will be at the top of the log. Second loss for Kudus. And then Wanderers coming to the party and putting up a massive 89-5 score against
89-5.
Dolphins. But in defense of Dolphins, newcomers to the
Yes,
league, they
fair.
have been there before, but they just returned this year after a very long absence. So they are still in the building process.
For sure. And I mean,
You
look,
know?
Wanderers may have not won last season, but
Yes.
they do have championship DNA.
Yes.
They understand what it feels like to hold that trophy at the end of the season.
Definitely.
So the way they're going to apply themselves each game is going to be top notch. And
Yes.
of course, for Simone Storm Dolphins, they're just still trying to, you know, find their footing,
feet.
so to speak.
You are right. You
Or
are right.
should we say footing, their Dolphins find their swimming lanes to get it all done.
Yeah, trying to catch the right current,
Catch
could
the right wave,
which
so to
could,
speak.
yes, carry
Yeah.
them forward. But I know they've got a solid coaching department, and I know I would love to see them raking their first win.
You
know?
you obviously spend a lot of time at the coast. What's the home support like for the Dolphins?
Massive. They actually, in the absence of Dolphins, Kudus flourished. Because a lot of those players moved over and started playing for
Kudus.
For Kudus.
All right.
Yes.
So Dolphins is just recovering.
Dolphins is got a lot of history, tradition, and rugby culture.
All right. Let's swing through the rest of the results.
Another result, Grootfontein were dealt a blow by Suburbs. You know, Suburbs winning that one 57-28. We know Grootfontein started off this season with a bang. You know, they were setting the pace. But I'm sure it will be back to the drawing board for them.
Oh, for sure.
And they could come back stronger, you know.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, and it was a good one for Suburbs because they had only won one match, and now they've raked in a second
win.
match.
And hopefully they're going to be able to build momentum from that.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that was the the games that were played for today. The defending champs, United, currently plays 7th. So imagine what's happening in this log.
My goodness,
you know?
it's a lot of movement, a lot of shifting, and we're fortunate to be able to catch all the action live, you know what I mean, especially on NTV and oneup2.com. We're going to see how it all unfolds, Otis, without a doubt, but you and I, we're multi-talented gentlemen, multi-talented talkers.
Yes,
if there's sports we can talk
drop
about.
The topic.
We drop the topic and we
we'll
move.
Roll.
We'll roll. All right, so speaking of dropping and rolling, we're about to talk about Tyson Fury versus Usyk, the biggest boxing match that is on tonight. Here's a quick clip about what's going to be going on.
Of his 21 wins coming by way of knockout, the reigning and defending unified heavyweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk.
Well, here comes Alexander Usyk, the unified world heavyweight champion. As announced there by Thomas Treiber, he was, of course, undisputed at cruiserweight. It'll be some achievement if he can become the undisputed world heavyweight champion on Saturday night. But one man stands in his way.
I feel good. Again, please.
Just a final word to Tyson Fury, who is waiting at the end of the purple carpet.
I don't have last questions. I say for Saturday.
24 of his 34 wins come by way of knockout as the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury!
Well, here comes Tyson Fury. Dancing, moving, but there is a real sternness about this one. He looked the part yesterday, he had that Undertaker hat on. He's gone for the baseball cap today, back to front, taking in every moment. WBC belt, held aloft, champion of the century. That one man is Alexander Usyk. We've just seen his workout. Let's see what Tyson Fury has got for us as he takes in every moment here in Boulevard City in Riyadh. It is quite the setting, Steve Bunce.
It certainly is quite a set, and it's the setting that Tyson's been here before, literally here before. He's been like this before. He's walked through crowds before. But one of the things I've been desperate to do all week is just get him to admit that this is different.
I'm on top of the world, baby! Who wouldn't be enjoying it? I'm in the great kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Main event, undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. 2020 year, what a year, come on.
Having all these people out to support you for this tonight. You've got your whole team with you as well.
So, we're looking forward to putting on a good show. Me and Alexander are going to put on a fantastic show for the world to watch. I'm going to make this short and simple. I want to thank God for the victory that I've received already. And I want to thank everybody involved in putting this massive event on. I want to thank Usyk for turning up and challenging me. And that's about it. Thank you to all the fans who travelled over to support me.
Trainers then to Bob Arum, as he pointed out. Let's speak first to Serge Lapin. I mean, Alexander Usyk has...
I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm grateful for His Excellency Mr. Turki and who this fight happened. Let's make history.
This is a generational boxing match.
Massive.
Massive.
It doesn't get bigger than this.
It's been over 20 years
Yes,
since we've had
yes.
something this big.
4 belts up for grabs. So it's the first undisputed heavyweight fight for a generation. as
For
you
a
said.
generation. So last
Yes,
time we saw
yes.
this was, we're talking Lennox Lewis,
Lennox Lewis, yeah.
Holyfield.
Holyfield.
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
goodness.
And I think the guy that wins this one will be in a league, or will be classed in a league as the Muhammad Ali, which is
Mike Tyson,
the greatest.
the
you know.
greatest, for
Yeah,
sure.
Tyson, for sure. So, but when is this fight happening? Our
11
time.
p.m. 11 p.m. our time. That's exactly when it's going to be happening.
Yes.
Tyson Fury has obviously had a lot to say, without a doubt. It was meant to happen in February, but he got
Yes.
a cut during sparring,
Yes.
which moved the fight to tonight.
Yes.
And I understand, we were having a chat about this. You're talking about Usyk. He went to war at some point.
He's a
In the
Ukrainian.
he's a Ukrainian.
And he fought against the Russians briefly.
Yeah,
They mentioned
briefly.
very briefly.
Yeah.
So
So we're like we're saying tactically,
Yes.
what are the two schools of
think-
fighting we're seeing here?
I think Usyk very disciplined as a soldier.
Yes,
It would bring that to him.
fit.
Super fit.
He has to be.
Yes. And yeah,
Fury's street fight.
a brawler.
He's a brawler.
He's a brawler.
Soldier versus brawler.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you look at this guy's records, Ashwin,
Insane.
massive, man.
Massive records.
35 wins, 1 draw, 0 defeats. That's now Fury.
Wow.
And then 24 knockouts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, this is a fight of a lifetime.
It's a fight of a lifetime.
It's a fight of a lifetime. If you look at the opponent, Usyk, also 6 feet 3 inches, weighing in, 24 fights, 14 knockouts.
14 knockouts. Oh my God. So only 10 of his fights have not been knockouts. I mean, of course, look, you look at Fury, you look at the fights that he's had of recent. Francis Ngannou, I think that one was a little arguable, more arguable than we would have liked it to be. Francis, very strong fighter from the UFC. But, I mean, Deontay Wilder, he dealt with him decisively.
One thing that stands out for me is the age gap. Fury, 35 years old. And then Usyk, 37.
2-year difference. That's a 35-year-old?
Yes.
You're telling me Fury is 2 years older than me?
Yes.
I grew up in the right place, and I'm glad I didn't start fights.
Usyk is 2 years older than
him.
Than Fury.
I wonder, do you think age will be a factor? I mean, they both don't look their age.
My brother. Sparks will fly.
Sparks will fly.
Sparks will
Soldier
fly.
versus Brawler. Don't miss that. Tyson Fury versus Usyk. That's going to be happening at 11 p.m. But for now, we're going to get the latest from the Formula One world, from the one and only Namibia's. Africa, I would argue it. Let me know if I'm wrong. Africa's only Formula One journalist with a show. Yeah, that's right. Iriana Marie van der Walt.
Thank you so much to the team in studio. On the Formula One front, we are looking forward to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, the first Italian Grand Prix of the year, which was cancelled last year due to natural disaster. So we're looking forward to that one. It's one of those tracks that to Formula One fans will always be known as Imola, no matter how you dress it. It will always be Imola in the same way that Steak/Kick/Alfa Romeo/ company will always be Sauber to Formula One fans. This will always be Imola. Speaking of Sauber, one thing that I think is important to discuss on the Formula One front is Carlos Sainz leaving an Audi deal essentially to rot. He had this Audi deal on the table. He's notoriously been without a seat since Lewis Hamilton signed with Ferrari earlier in this year, a very shock move, sent shockwaves through the whole Formula One community. And he is now left without a seat, given that Charles Leclerc is going to stay in his seat at Ferrari. So Carlos Sainz had this Audi deal on the table, and it was kind of a surety to his fans that he would return to Formula One, but he's left it to expire. So now he doesn't have that deal on the table anymore. And the question is, does that say something about Audi and their F1 project? Or does that say something about Carlos Sainz and the potential that he has on the table right now and how sure he is in those potential deals on the table? So Carlos Sainz, obviously the only non-Red Bull driver to win a Grand Prix in the 2023 season last year, also the first non-Red Bull driver to win a Grand Prix this year, alongside his close friend Lando Norris, who obviously took that win last time around in Miami. So he's hot property on the driver's market, but he hasn't signed anything yet, or at least he hasn't let the world know that he's signed anything yet. So letting that Audi deal leaving it to expire was definitely a statement of some sort. What it was a statement on, we can't entirely say, but it was a statement from Carlos Sainz's side, undoubtedly. Speaking of Carlos Sainz's close friend, Lando Norris, the last Grand Prix winner in Formula One, winning his first Grand Prix on his 110th try with a newly upgraded McLaren. He's spoken on the upgrades, and there are somewhat contradictory statements coming from Lando Norris at this point. He's saying things like, you know, McLaren have to do some work. There's still a bit to go before they can challenge the pack at the front, being Ferrari and obviously Red Bull, that are, you know, light years ahead and have been for the past couple of seasons. But at the same time, he's saying that he has this extreme confidence in the team and that he's so excited for the future, looking so as far into the future as next year. He's noting that his team is, you know, the best on the upgrades front. And I'm not going to lie, I am inclined to agree, especially looking at that impressive turnaround in form for McLaren last year, from consistently out of the points, consistently being last, to suddenly challenging for podiums and challenging for near wins. Even if they didn't get them, they did end up getting their win this year, though. sweet, sweet revenge, I guess you could call it if you really wanted to. So he's saying that he believes in these upgrades. He believes that Imola is better suited to McLaren, and it has been for a couple of years. But he's still saying that there's work to be done to catch up to the front of the pack. Speaking of upgrades, Mercedes and Aston Martin are both set to bring some upgrades to Imola this weekend. So we'll have to see how those will react with their car. Mercedes, obviously one of the teams that have somewhat disappointed their fans in the earlier phase of the season. You know, they used to be one of the top teams. They have always been, you know, historically winning. Lewis Hamilton, a number of his World Drivers' Championships. So for them to suddenly be challenging for points and for their goal to be points and challenging a Haas is quite a shock for Mercedes fans. In other Formula One news, Alexander Albon has extended his contract with Williams and signed a multi-year deal. These are somewhat elusive. We don't really know what they are or what they mean for the driver or the team. We just know that they are becoming increasingly common in Formula One. Lando Norris, one of the guys currently on a multi-year contract, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. If there's one thing we know about contracts in Formula One is that they don't bear too much weight to them. We have constantly, time and again, seen one team buying a driver out of his contract with another team, a driver nullifying his contract with a team nullifying its contract with a driver. So there's a lot of clauses, there's a lot of particulars around these contracts that mean they aren't always what they seem. All we know about a multi-year deal is that it's meant to go on indefinitely. We don't know what the clauses are that could nullify them. We don't know what the clauses are that could default them. We just know they kind of just go on unless they're stopped. So Alexander Albon signing a multi-year deal with Williams, who are yet to score a point in the 2024 Formula One season, says a lot about what he thinks of the team's future. James Vowles, the team principal for Williams Racing, who started at the beginning of last season, said from the very beginning, from the get-go, that it would take Williams a number of years to become a challenger at the front of the field again. Williams, obviously, this historic team that has this amazing, awe-inspiring history in Formula One that has since fallen on hard times and, as I said, are still fighting to get even 1 point on the board in this season. So Alex Albon has said that he's excited for the future of Williams Racing, but the question is, does the future come in time for Alex Albon? Alex Albon, you know, Formula One drivers kind of have a limited lifespan. We're seeing less of that with Lewis Hamilton pushing up to 40, with Fernando Alonso still driving for a team like Aston Martin at the age of 42. But can Williams turn their form around in time for Alexander Albon to still live out his fullest potential at Williams? I guess it's one of those things, like with many other things in Formula One, that only the future can tell, and we'll have to, you know, let the track do the talking.
Thank you very much for that, Iriana Marie van der Walt, the woman who is setting the pace in Formula One news and dissecting what's really happening with those cars in that community. So, tomorrow.
Another massive day.
Man.
What better way to conclude the weekend on such a note, man?
I'll be very honest. I'd have preferred it if Tottenham just drew with Manchester City and then this weekend would conclude with Arsenal guaranteed as winners. But that's not the case. As far as competition goes, for the love of football, I think this is the best we can get on a Sunday.
Yes.
Down to the wire.
Down to the wire, really.
Let's have a
to the
look
very
at the fixtures.
last moment.
Very last moment. So these are the fixtures that you can expect. Liverpool and Wolves. Why is that significant? It is Jurgen Klopp's very last game coaching the Reds. Luton and Fulham will be not following. All the games are being played at the exact same time. So if you've got multiple screens, this is the time for it. So Liverpool, Wolves, Luton, Fulham, Man City, West Ham, everyone will be paying attention to that one, because if West Ham wins or draws, Arsenal still has to beat Everton, but Manchester City will certainly not get the title.
Yes.
If they do, if Manchester City wins, that's the end, no matter what Arsenal does against Everton. Brentford versus Newcastle, Burnley versus Nottingham Forest, Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Chelsea, they are starting, this is your team, starting to build some momentum, and I guess Chelsea will want to see some signs before heading into the next season. To
Definitely want to conclude the season with a bang.
Yes, and of course hoping that what's it called, Tottenham doesn't ask for their coach back.
Pochettino's with us.
He's with you.
We'll hang on to him. I firmly believe we should hang on to him.
I agree. It seems like, of course it was looking a little shaky with some earlier results, but it seems like he's getting it done now.
Yes.
Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa, that's also going to be a very competitive game. Brighton versus Manchester United, news just in. De Zerbi, coach for Brighton, just an hour ago, was announced this is his last game for Brighton against Manchester United, which has gotten people speculating. Does that mean he's been earmarked for the Bayern job? Barcelona, there's a lot of gaps right now in international football. Slot just came from Feyenoord. Who's going to be at Feyenoord with regards to that? We're going to see how that goes. And Tottenham versus Sheffield. Tottenham hoping to stay in Europe after what a lot of people would consider a compromised performance against Manchester City. So those are your fixtures. That's what we're going to be expecting tomorrow, 38th week of football.
Final countdown.
Final countdown. Yeah. Are you tired of City?
I think
Chelsea aside, Arsenal aside, are we, for the sake of football, are we tired?
Manchester came and Manchester United came and dominated with Ferguson.
They did.
And now we have a scenario of Pep dictating matters. I don't like that.
You don't like I mean, look, the only thing that's a little hard, I think all these players are talented. Pep Guardiola is a generational coach. Without a doubt, they also have 115 charges that are yet to be answered to. And I don't believe those charges came from nowhere. There's been a lot of news around those charges. Of course, so that kind of makes the entire project look a little questionable. However, I mean, what they do on the field is inexcusable. They get it done.
Phil Foden.
In the
shadow of
Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne, if to be very honest. Phil Foden was actually crowned the Premier League Player of the Season.
Silent assassin.
And your guy, Cole Palmer, is the young player of the season.
And we got him from
City.
From City.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
and
that's
then,
right there.
Havertz on the other hand.
Havertz, thank you for that. But on the screen right there is Phil Foden, the English Premier League Player of the Season. He had an incredible season, some significant goals. I mean, look, yes, of course, if you're asked, take a Manchester City player, he's not going to be the first guy you pick. There's quite a bit of guys who are like ridiculously talented. But if you're asked, take a Manchester City player this season.
17 goals, 8 assists. In 34 matches, man.
You can't say no to that.
Yeah.
You can't, in 34 matches, that's at least a goal every 2 games. I mean, come on. You're going to be very happy with such a result, without a doubt. So, look, we're going to be paying attention to tomorrow, without a doubt. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm going to have my fingers crossed. Too many things have to come together. I've got half a mind to nap through it. I'm telling you, I've got half a mind to sleep for 90 minutes. Maybe I'll say 100 minutes because, you know, the referees extend the time. Wake up and just deal with the reality.
Yes. So where are you going to watch the game?
If I am watching it, I have to watch it at home because I need several screens on. You know what I mean? I need Arsenal here, and of course,
you need to be on top of issues.
Because I'm invested in the Arsenal game. I'm definitely invested in the City game, but I'm going to watch Manchester United so I can dislike him one more time.
Prediction? Scoreline?
Prediction, I'm going to suffer for this. Arsenal 4-0 Everton, West Ham last goal equalizer 2-2 against Manchester City. We'll talk more about that just now and the other stories that have been stemming from local sport in Namibia as we get into the wrap-up show after the break.
Attention kids, we have some exciting news for you. We are back, and this year we are planning on going big. So listen up. If you are in grade 3, grade 2, grade 1 or pre-primary, we are bringing your free school workbooks to you soon. This is all you need to know about where you can find your books. Books will be available for free in Republican street sale newspapers and all Namibian Sun newspapers. And for all pre-primary kids out there, your books will be delivered to your school in all 14 regions of Namibia. And there's more. Pre-primary books will also be printed in 9 different languages. Check out when your book will be available from the schedule right here. That's not all. Our free online school is there to help you along the way with video lessons and more books to download. You can also follow along on NTV every Monday to Friday from 9:30 to 11:30 for your daily online school lesson. We thank all our sponsors who are helping to build a brighter future for Namibia. Contact us at info@acdtrust.com and follow us on Instagram.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toyvon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Hallo Namibia, ons is by die kus en ons is lus.
By die Easter shot.
Okay. Okay, so yes, please, today you make sure that we are fed. Sorry, it's actually.
Welcome to the wrap-up show with Otis Daniels and Ashwin Biddy. As we get it done again, my brother,
Sure,
we get it
sure.
done. It's been a day of good local rugby,
Yes.
starting from high school, going into the seniors. And let's get straight into it. So the first game that we covered for the NSSR Rugby League was Windhoek Afrikaans Privaat School taking on Tsumeb Gymnasium.
Dis Windhoek Afrikaanse Privaat Skool en Tsumeb Gymnasium wat vandag hulle rekeninge geopen het in Standard Bank se Superliga. Die manne wat op die veld draf hier by Windhoek Affies in Windhoek. Klompie mooi drieë wat ons gesien het in die wedstryd vandag. Windhoek Affies wat op die aanval was toe hulle die bal verloor het en vroeg in die wedstryd het Tsumeb kans gekry om te gaan kuier agter die doellyn. Jean-Paul Strauss heel agter wat ver gehardloop het voor hy oorgeval het vir sy eerste van 2-3 in hierdie wedstryd. Affies wat 'n strafskop deur die palle kon jaag. En dan is dit weer Strauss met die bal in hand, wys hom 3 verdedigers wat hy op